Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to uncover a huge secret to living a long and healthy life. And you know what? It's hidden deep inside your own body. We're talking about the trillions of tiny allies that make up your gut microbiome. For centuries, we've been absolutely fascinated by people who live to be over 100 and in really good health. Science has been on this massive hunt for the reason why. Is it just good luck, amazing genes, or is there something else going on entirely? Well, it turns out the clue isn't just in our genes. It's in this bustling, hidden world that we're only now really beginning to understand. An entire ecosystem that's living right inside your digestive tract. And what's crazy is, this isn't some brand new idea. This was actually proposed over 100 years ago by a Nobel laureate named Elie Metchnikoff. He had this theory that our inner microbes were a key to a long life. And now, a century later, modern science is proving he was totally spot on.
Okay, so let's dive right in. To really get how our gut influences the way we age, we first have to get to know this hidden organ, the gut microbiome.
So what is the gut microbiota? Well, it's this incredibly complex community of trillions of microorganisms. Think of it like a superorganism living right there with you. It performs functions that are so vital, they literally shape everything from your metabolism to your immune system. And just to give you an idea of the sheer scale of this, get this. The genes in our gut microbiota outnumber our own human genes by about 150 to 1. That's over 3.3 million microbial genes. Basically, a massive second genome working for us 24/7.
So if we all have this bustling inner world, what makes the microbiome of the longest living people so special? What does the gut of a healthy centenarian actually look like?
Right, so our microbiome isn't static, no way. It evolves dramatically. When we're babies, it's dominated by bacteria like Bifidobacterium. As adults, it gets a lot more diverse and stable. But in our later years, that diversity can often start to decline. But here's where it gets really interesting. Centenarians, they seem to defy this trend. Their microbiome stays uniquely stable, almost like it has this powerful defense against aging. And here's the kicker. A centenarian's gut isn't just a younger gut. It develops its own unique signature. It's packed with beneficial bacteria. It produces these unique compounds like isoallolCa, which is a special kind of bile acid that actively fights inflammation. And it's an absolute factory for short-chain fatty acids, which are these crucial fuel sources for our gut cells that help keep our intestinal barrier strong. So that's the ideal scenario, right? But what happens when our inner ecosystem starts to age poorly? What does the other side of the coin look like? Well, when things start to go wrong, it's often because of a state that scientists call dysbiosis. It sounds complicated, but it's a simple word for a really critical problem. Your gut is out of balance. Dysbiosis is basically when that healthy, diverse ecosystem gets thrown off. Diversity just plummets, and the more harmful microbes can get a foothold. And this imbalance is now being linked to a huge range of age-related conditions, affecting not just the gut, but pretty much your entire body. Take our brains, for example. Studies are now finding clear connections between specific microbial shifts and cognitive decline, even Alzheimer's disease. We often see a drop in beneficial bacteria like lactobacillus and a rise in certain microbes that love to stir up inflammation. And it's a very similar story with age-related muscle loss, or sarcopenia. This condition is linked to the loss of key species like Bifidobacterium and Rosaburia. These are bacteria that are absolutely essential for producing the energy-regulating compounds that our muscles depend on to function. So you're probably asking, how on earth does an imbalanced gut in my digestive system affect my brain and my muscles? They seem pretty far apart, right? Well, the answer comes down to one really powerful mechanism: inflammation. Scientists even have a perfect name for it: inflammaging. It's this persistent, low-level inflammation that drives so many parts of the aging process. And it turns out, an unhealthy gut is like a major contributor to this inflammatory fire. So here's how it works. It's like a chain reaction. It all starts with that dysbiosis, the imbalance. This weakens your intestinal barrier, creating what we call a leaky gut. This lets inflammatory stuff from bacteria, like a substance called LPS, to actually escape the gut and get into your bloodstream. And that triggers this low-grade, body-wide inflammatory response.
Now, I know this might sound a bit concerning, but here is the really exciting part. This is not a one-way street. We actually have the power to influence our gut microbiome, to nudge it back toward a healthier, more balanced state. And one of the most well-studied ways to do this is through our diet. The Mediterranean diet, which is so rich in plants, whole grains, and healthy fats, is consistently shown to support a healthy gut. Why? Because all those components are basically a feast for our beneficial microbes, and they help reduce that chronic inflammation.
The main takeaway here is pretty simple. Foods that are rich in fiber, so fruits, vegetables, legumes, all that good stuff, that's the fuel our microbial allies love. On the flip side, a typical Western diet full of processed foods, sugar, and saturated fat, that tends to feed the troublemakers.
And beyond diet, science is exploring even more direct ways to help. Probiotics can introduce beneficial bacteria directly into the system. Prebiotics act like fertilizer for the good microbes you already have. And then in more clinical settings, there are even procedures like fecal microbiota transplantation, or FMT. It's basically a reboot for the gut, designed to restore balance by introducing an entire healthy microbial community all at once. So, in the end, the secret to longevity might not be found in a magic pill or some futuristic technology. It might just be found in the daily care of the trillions of allies that are living inside of us. So the real question is, how are you tending to your inner garden?